And we are live. Hey, what is up, everyone? Joining me either live on stream or maybe after the fact on my YouTube channel. It is an honor to have you here. My name is Tyler, and I get to be your host for tonight. And what we are going to do is continue our series through the advent of cyber event by TryHackMe. And we are just doing each day in the evenings. I do not prep ahead of time. I don't even look at the challenge ahead of time. So you can stumble through it right along with me. You can watch me make mistakes. Hopefully, we learn something together through this process. So, without any further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. There we go. We're using Parrot OS again, just as I get used to it. I am enjoying it. Some of the things have thrown me off just because I'm used to Kali, but it has been fun to change it up. And I would encourage you to follow along with me if you haven't already done the challenge. So open up the TryHackMe either on your Kali VM or just on your Windows computer. I don't know if the challenge today requires a VM or not, but we're going to find out. So let's get logged in if I could type. TryHackMe.com. Day number 4, Advent of Cyber. And S-Brand, if you don't mind telling me, because I know you're on stream and you have a Twitch account so you can chat, everything sound good to you? Audio doesn't sound too loud, too quiet, nothing like that? I'm going to assume so unless you say otherwise. Oh, hey, Matt Kiley did this one. Husky Hacks. I interviewed this dude. Really, really cool dude. If you want to watch the interview with him, if you go to my YouTube channel, you might be watching this on my YouTube channel. If not, if you just go to YouTube and search for Tyler Ramsbey, that's the name of my YouTube page. I interviewed Matt Kiley, aka Husky Hacks. Really, really cool dude. I'll have to watch this when I'm done, just see what I can learn from him. And it looks like we do have a machine to start, so let's go ahead and start our machine. We'll give us some time to start as we walk through what the challenge is today. Let me zoom in for us. Okay. During the investigation of the downloaded GitHub repo, the OSINT test that we did last night, Elf Recon McRed identified a URL. And remember, we identified that the qa.santagift.shop that is probably used by all the elves with admin privs to add or delete gifts on the Santa website. The website has been pulled down for maintenance, and now Recon McRed is scanning the server to see how it's been compromised. Can you help McRed scan the network and find the reason for the website compromise? Can we? Yes, we can. Every time I ask that question, I feel like I'm on a kid's show. That's okay. Learning objectives. What is scanning? Scanning types, scanning techniques, and scanning tools. Sounds good. What is scanning? Well, scanning is a set of procedures for identifying live hosts, ports, and services, discovering the operating system of the target system, and identifying vulnerabilities and threats in the network. These scans are typically automated and give an insight into what could be exploited. Scanning reveals parts of the attack surface for attackers and allows launching targeted attacks to exploit the system. If you ever get a role as a pen tester, one of the first things that we do is scanning. So if you're doing an attack on a website, we're using Burp Suite Pro and doing like an active scan on there. If we're doing like an external pen test where you're just given IPs, we're usually running Nessus against them, but we always manually verify. So as a pen tester, we use automated scanning just to get a glimpse at things, but we always manually verify vulnerabilities to see if they're truly exploitable. All right, scanning types, let's keep going. Scanning is classified as either active or passive based on the degree of intrusiveness to gathering information about a target system or network, as explained below. Passive scanning. This method involves scanning a network without directly interacting with the target device, the server, the computer, etc. Passive scanning is usually carried out through packet capture and analysis tools like Wireshark. However, this technique only provides basic asset information like OS version, network protocol against the target. Active scanning. Active scanning is a scanning method whereby you scan individual endpoints in an IT network to retrieve more detailed information. The active scan involves sending packets or queries directly to specific assets rather than passively collecting that data by catching it in transit on the network's traffic. Active scanning is an immediate deep scan performed on targets to get detailed information. These targets can be a single endpoint or a network of endpoints. All right, scanning techniques. The following scanning techniques are employed to scan a target system or network effectively. Network scanning. A network is usually a collection of interconnected hosts or computers to share information and resources. Network scanning helps to discover and map a complete network, including any live computer or host, open ports, IP addresses, and services running on any live host in OS. Once the network is mapped, an attacker executes exploits as per the target system and services discovered. For example, a computer in a network with an outdated Apache version enables an attacker to launch an exploit against a vulnerable Apache server. And over in the chat, Check02X said, I'm using Parrot OS 2. Very cool, man. So I've never really used Parrot. I just started using it for these challenges to change it up. I'm used to Kali. I really do like the look and the feel of Parrot personally, but if you don't mind me asking, why do you use Parrot instead of Kali? Is there any specific reason that you enjoy it over? I'm going to keep going, but I'll check back on the chat in a little bit and see what your answer is. Port scanning. Per Wikipedia, in computer networking, a port is a number assigned to uniquely identify a connection endpoint and to direct traffic to a specific service. At the software level, within an OS, a port is a logical construct that identifies a specific process or type of network service. Cool. Port scanning is a conventional method to examine open ports in a network capable of receiving and sending data. First, an attacker maps a complete network with installed devices and hosts like firewalls, routers, and servers, then scans open ports on each live host. Port numbers vary between 0 to 65,536 based on the type of service running on the host. Port scanning results fall into the following three categories. Closed port, the host is not listening to a specific port. Open ports, the host actively accepts connection on the specific port. And filtered ports, this indicates that the port is open. However, the host is not accepting connections or accepting connections as per certain criteria, like specific source of IP address. One cool thing is, so for an attacker, outside of your network, the first thing is to scan ports, because that tells us, like, here are the ports that are open, here are the services that might be running. One way you can really throw off an attacker is if it appears every single port is open, because their network scan is never going to finish. And if my memory serves me right, Black Hill Security, InfoSec, oh, it looks like it's already bookmarked, sweet. They have, gosh, what was it? All ports up. They have a little script you can run. Is it called All Ports? Oh, port spoof. I'll let you guys check this out yourself, but basically what this does is you run it, and then if an attacker scans your network, every single port is open, right? So first, it takes a really long time if the scan's ever going to finish, and if it does finish, it gives the attacker no information because it says every single port from 1 to whatever, 65,000 is open. Interesting way to defend. I came across that article not too long ago. Vulnerability scanning. The vulnerability scanning proactively identifies a network's vulns in an automated way that helps determine whether the system may be threatened or exploited. Free and paid tools are available that help to identify loopholes in a target system through a pre-built database of vulnerabilities. Pen testers widely use tools such as Nessus and Acunetics, I think is how you say it, to identify loopholes in a system. I've only used Nessus personally. Scanning tools. Network Mapper, the good old nmap. Nmap is a popular tool used to carry out port scanning, discover network protocols, identify running services, and detect operating systems on live hosts. You can learn more about the tool by visiting Rooms Nmap, Nmap Live Host Discovery, Nmap Basic Port Scan, Nmap Advanced Port Scan, Rooms on TryHackMe. If you are doing, I think Security Plus hits an Nmap a little bit, but if you do the Pen Test Plus certification through CompTIA, there's a lot of Nmap. So if you're studying for Pen Test Plus, make sure you spend some time learning Nmap and learning some of the different switches that you need to use for Nmap. Once you're actually attacking a box, it's pretty simple. You kind of use, at least personally, I use the same structure when I'm scanning a device. So deploy the machine by clicking Start Machine. We already did that. There's our IP. This is the machine Recon McRed wants to scan. You can access the tools needed by clicking Start Attack Box. We're going to use our own VM. Wait for the attack box to load and launch the terminal from the desktop. Type nmap in the attack box terminal. A quick summary of important nmaps is listed below. What we should probably do is get connected to the VPN. Let's switch over to root in our Kali. I don't know where I put the VPN file. Is it downloads? Yep, there we go. So we'll do OpenVPN. You have to do this as root or do sudo for super user do or whatever it's called. There we go. Oh, I can't. I'm trying to do what I do in Kali. In Kali, there is a shortcut to name. Can I name this? Set title. There's no shortcut. In Kali, it's Alt Shift F S if I remember right. and you can change the name. I just like to keep my things clear so I know what's going on, but that's just me because I'm weird, and that's okay. There we go. If we type nmap, we can see some of the basics of nmap here. This is always good when you're stuck on a command and you're doing a command you haven't done for the first time. Usually just type the command name or maybe -- help or -h for help, and you can get some basic ideas of how to use the command. I'm sure the TryHackMe room is going to walk us through some of these options, so let's jump back to the TryHackMe room. Okay, a quick summary of important nmap options is below. A TCP SYN scan, get the list of live hosts and associated ports on the host without completing the TCP three-way handshake and making the scan a little stealthier. Here's how I think of it. The double S, I just think of super stealth mode. It works in my head. I remember telling myself when I took the pen test exam, that's what I remembered SS, super stealth. Ping scan allows scanning the live host in the network without going deeper and checking for port services, etc. That's nmap SN. Operating system scan allows scanning of the type of OS running on a live host, which is -O. And services get a list of running services on a live host, lowercase s, capital V. Nikto, another tool I use pretty often. And I'm going to jump back to the chat. Check02x said, I have a low performance laptop and I also use the Hack the Box edition. That's a good point. So what my understanding of Parrot OS is, it works a lot better if you don't have a high-end computer. It has a lesser requirement on hardware. So that's a good reason to be using Parrot. And I believe Parrot also has a version that's made for just as a daily driver, whereas Kali generally isn't meant to be your daily driver. All right, Nikto. Nikto is open source software that allows scanning websites for vulnerabilities. It enables looking for subdomains, outdated servers, debug messages. On a website, you can access an attack box by typing nikto. I usually just do -h, which is short for host. But here's the cool thing about Nikto. Every time I am scanning a website in a CTF, there's a few things I do, right? The first thing, if it's a web server, I'm always running nikto against it. I'm always running derby against it, just so I can enumerate directories and nikto to find anything like as far as version enumeration goes. So I'm sure we'll be using nikto. It looks like we're scanning that port. So cool. We'll do all that stuff ourselves once we get to the questions. Well, I suppose we could do it. Nah, we'll do it ourselves once we get down to it. Blah, blah, blah. Elf Recomic Red ran nmap and nikto tools against a QA server to find the list of open ports and vulnerabilities. He noticed a Samba service running. Hackers can gain access to the system through loosely protected Samba share folders that are not protected over the network. He knows that the Bandit Yeti APT got a few lists of admin usernames and passwords for qa.santagift.shop using OSINT techniques. Let's connect to the Samba service using the credentials we found through the source code. Type the following command. Okay, let's back up and let's do our scanning first and nikto as well, just to see what we find. So let's be Elf McRed or whoever that guy is. And I'll show you guys how I scan. Some of these techniques would not be good for a real world pen test, but for CTFs are fine just because they're a little more noisy. But the first thing I do, especially as I'm studying for the OSCP, on OSCP box, there's usually a lot of services, a lot of ports open, and a lot of rabbit holes that they're trying to get you to fall into. So the first thing is scan everything. So the way I do that is I do nmap, and then -p- means scan all the ports from 0 to 65,000, whatever. I do T5 as in thread 5, that just makes it go a little bit faster. And then we can type our IP 10.10.93.137 and -v for both. Now this is not going to enumerate any service information. This is merely going to tell me these are the ports that are alive. These are the ports that are listening. Once I have a list of the ports that are listening, I run a second nmap scan targeting those specific ports merely to save time. I believe these are the only 4 ports that are open. Otherwise, we could let the task finish. Let me just glance at the task. Yeah, those are only 4. Usually I let it finish, but we know those are the only 4. So once I know what ports are open, I do nmap -p, and then I specify those specific ports. So 22, 139, 445, 80. I already know 22 is going to be SSH. 139, 445 are going to be SMB, and 80 is going to be a web server. But we'll do that. Capital A means an aggressive scan, which means it tries to enumerate version information and all of that all at once. And then we'll type our IP again, 10.10.93.137-V, and let's let that beast run and see what it tells us. While that does its thing, the other thing we can do is let's open up a new tab and let's run nikto, which is nikto-h. It's automatically going to go through port 80 since that's a standard web server port. If it was on a different port, we could specify it here, but we'll run nikto against port 80 and see if nikto finds anything for us. We can see the server information that is outdated, so we can look for vulnerabilities for Apache 2.4.29. We have at least inodes via e-tags, header found with file. Interesting. Let's go over here. Our nmap scan is done, so let's see what information it tells us. It tells us on port 22, we have an SSH server running. We have the specific SSH information here. If it was really outdated, we could look for any vulnerabilities there. We have port 80 is telling us that is a web server. It's giving us the service information, the supported methods that we have here. And then we see that on port 139 and 445, we have an SMB server running with the work group. And then we have some more SMB information down here in the host script results. We can see the net BIOS name, which is just the IP it looks like here. We can see what information is here, what shares might be available to us, see if message signing is enabled or not. That's a good thing for Active Directory type stuff. Check said, I'm late for the TryHackMe event. I've subscribed, but I haven't had time to complete the rooms. Totally fine, man. Feel free to follow along if you want or get caught up. Each video of these, I post the full recording on my YouTube page. And you know what? I'll just drop my YouTube in the chat, some shameless self-promotion. On my YouTube page, I do more than this. Sometimes I interview cool people, like I've interviewed John Hammond, for example, people like that. And I just got hired as a pen tester, so kind of sharing my journey as a pen tester as well on my YouTube channel. I just dropped it in the chat. Feel free to subscribe if you want to be awesome and be on this journey with me. All right. So we have nmap done. If we look over at nikto, you can see it's just doing a basic vulnerability scan on the website. And thank you, Clay Hacks. I appreciate it, my friend. Okay, so that is what an nmap scan would look like. And you can imagine as an attacker, there's all this information in here that we could use. I did not mean to open that. To begin really enumerating the target and seeing what vulnerabilities are there that we can possibly exploit. I think we're supposed to log into the SMB server now as Ubuntu, it looks like, right? Connect, all right. So we'll just copy that. Go back to here. The way we would log into an SMB server, we can clear that out if we do smbclient, at least on Kali. I'd assume it's the same on here. And then / well, I think we can do 2 slashes, 10.10.93.137. And then if we do -u, -u Ubuntu, I think that might work. Yep, password for Ubuntu is that Santa one. Oh, not enough characters in service. Okay, let's back up. Oh yeah, the other thing S-Brand did is, yeah, check out our Discord server. The cool thing about our Discord server, oh, you don't use Discord. Okay, that's fine. If you do want to use it, we host weekly meetings where we just ask people to share what did you accomplish this past week and what are your learning goals for this week, just as a way of holding each other accountable in our careers and learning journey. So if you want to be part of that, join the Discord. If not, totally fine as well. But I enjoy it. So it's Santa 2022. Connection failed. NT status not found. Oh, it just wants us to connect that way? Like through the GUI? Why can't I do smbclient? I should be able to do smbclient. Can I list the files? 10.10.93.137. Yeah, so we can list the files. So if we can list the files, we should be able to connect as the Ubuntu user. Let's try that again. User Ubuntu. There we go. And then Santa S NTA 2022. Okay, apparently it doesn't want me to connect that way. I wonder if we could access, we have the Samba share and admins. Do we even need to be authenticated to access it, do you guys think? Let's find out. If you guys are hearing that pinging, let me turn down my desktop audio. Parrot OS is dinging at me apparently when I hit the wrong key. There, I turned that down so you guys won't hear that anymore. Samba share. Nope, I can't connect to that. How about admins? Okay, fine. I'll do it the way they want me to do it. They just want us to use the folder up there, it would appear, and access it that way, which I mean, I guess you can do it that way. I always just do it through the command line. Maybe there's something weird about Parrot that's different from Kali, and I'm doing something wrong in Parrot, which is always a possibility. So if we just open like documents, how do I edit the, do I go here? Oh, there we go. Let's do that. And it didn't even prompt me for creds. Oh, if I click admins, that's cool. I'm going to have to use a dang attack box. Type the following command in the address bar and use the following username and password. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe I should boot up my Kali machine. Open. Unable to mount location. Failed to mount Windows share. Invalid argument. Okay. So generally speaking, guys, you can just do smbclient and just connect to it without any issues. The only difference is I'm in my own VM. I'm not using TryHackMe's VM, and maybe they want me to use their VM for some reason. I just like using my own VM. I'm connected right to the thing, ping.93.137. Yeah. Okay, so try something else, smbclient. We go like that, 10.10.93.137-u fu ubuntu-p, and we'll specify the password, Santa 2022. Esperin said, I had a friend that ended up having to use the attack box. Yeah, I bet for some reason you have to use the attack box for this challenge. That's annoying. I don't really want to launch a VM from within a VM. Let me get on my host computer. Let's just log in real quick, and we'll do it TryHackMe's way to appease them. It's a little bit annoying, but I understand it, I guess. I never use the attack box. I'd assume, okay, so it's just going to pull it up next to me. Fine, we'll use the attack box just so we can finish the challenge. Esperan said, my Kali did eventually work, but it took a while. That's weird. And maybe it is something unique with the fact that I'm using Parrot OS, but I can't imagine it is. I wonder if there's other ways, like smbclient GUI. For Parrot, you think there's a GUI? Let's see. Yeah, we don't need enum for Linux. smbclient, that's how I usually do it, and that's what we were doing. I guess I wasn't specifying a share. We could try to specify the admin share, I suppose. Was that what the share was called? Admin, right? That they want us to connect to? Admins, okay. Well, let's try to specify the share. I doubt it's going to make a difference. But, I mean, you never know. So let's go admins there. Let's take off the, I think lowercase p is actually port. So it's to specify a non-common port. Let's try that. SANT0 2022. Oh, it worked that way. Look at that. There we go. Hey, we got it. We just had to specify the share that we wanted to connect to with the username. And it worked that way. Okay. Easy enough. What is the name of the HTTP server running their most hosts? That was Apache, if I remember right. What is the name of the service running on port 22? That was SSH. What flag can you find after successfully accessing the Samba share? It'd actually be get flag.txt. And we'll also get user list.txt. And then we'll exit and we'll ls flag.txt. There is our flag. Copy that. Okay. Apparently not. I guess I'll right click copy. if it wants me to do it that way. What is the password for the username SantaHR? Now, I suppose I can close out. Let me close out the other one. I don't want this to break my VPN. SantaHR, Santa25. Very secure password. If you want to learn more about scan techniques, we have a module. Done. We finished it. Ran into a little snafu there with my SMB server just being weird. We just had to specify the share, then we could use the creds, and then we didn't have to use TryHackMe's attack box. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished. What is this? Day number 4, I think. Let's see. What's the date? Yeah, December 4th. So we have finished day number 4. We are 4 for 4 on the TryHackMe challenges. And you guys know what I might do? I'm going to stop the recording for YouTube, but I'm going to stay on and we're going to hack some more stuff. I'm just going to start a new recording for YouTube. So for those of you joining me on YouTube, thank you for hanging out. Hopefully you learned something. I will catch you guys in the next video.